program.
Rough Greens, something that has changed my dog's life and changed my life too.
My dog's too. My dog Miles is 15 now, I think. And
really?
Yeah, he's old.
Wow.
Basically, all he does is sleep most of the time, or at least that's what he's been doing. Yeah. Now he walks around the house proudly with a green beard. Because he gets his face into the rough greens and it turns his little, because he's so white now. He's a black dog, but he's turning gray and then white. And now he gets this little green beard and it's helped us with his energy, and he just loves his food. He eats it immediately. You got to try this stuff. It's you add it to the food. It's great. Rough Greens from VitaSmart will make your dog's food better. Take the Rough Greens 14-day Jumpstart Challenge today for $14.95 and see the difference in your dog in 14 days or less. If you want to see your dog thrive again, go to roughgreens.com/Beck. It's roughgreens.com/Beck. RUFFgreens.com/Beck.
Of entertainment and enlightenment.
Hello, America, and welcome to the Glenn Beck program. It's Super Wednesday because Super Tuesday didn't seem to be a powerhouse for a socialist, revolutionary, communist. What's more super than that? However, Marianne Williamson, she took out her Ouija board last night, and she was, I think the devil was spelling out some things on Twitter that she had to immediately delete. She said this was not a resurrection. It was a coup. Russiagate was not a coup. Mueller was not a coup. Impeachment was not a coup. What happened yesterday was a coup, and we will push back. Sanders people, not real happy. Biden people, it was a night to remember. And if Joe Biden could remember it, it would be a night for him to remember as well. You know what I'm saying here? All of the information on that and all of the news of the day coming up here in just a second. First, let me tell you about Greg. He lives in Hawaii. Had a really interesting experience with Relief Factor. Last year sometime, his knee started to swell, and it made climbing stairs and walking distances almost impossible. Yeah, that's why you just sit at the beach. I'm just saying. Fortunately, he had heard about Relief Factor, decided to give it a try for himself. And here's the interesting part, what happened with Greg. Greg had been taking Relief Factor for 3 days, and he started getting results. The knee stopped swelling. The back, the hips, the shoulders began to settle down. I'm a person who's had a dramatic change in my life. I feel better than I've felt in 10 or 15 years. I mean, I feel like I'm fully back, and it is credited to Relief Factor. Greg feels exactly the same way. He's now able to go and live his best life out in Hawaii, and you can live yours. Get your life back. For $19.95, you can get the 3-week quick start trial. 70% of the people who take it go on to order more month after month. If you want a drug-free, natural way to ease your pain, get your life back, go to ReliefFactor.com. That's ReliefFactor.com. So it was kind of a coup last night. The Democrats came out in full force, and I mean the Democratic Party, to make sure that Joe Biden is the nominee. Now, I don't know how they wrangle this from here, but Bernie Sanders is going to fight to the very last minute. He will fight all the way to the convention, but it was pretty remarkable how Joe Biden even started the evening, and that was in Virginia, where Virginia, it was close, and Biden was not supposed to sweep the country. And if it wasn't for early voting, except for California, I'll bet, he might have swept all the way across the country.
Really an incredible night for Biden. Far above and beyond any expectation or reasonable upside sort of outcome of this. The only 3 states he lost were Utah, Colorado, and California. California, he was the heavy favorite. We kind of all knew that going in. Colorado and Utah both had quirky rules that prevented him. I mean, we're good rules for Bernie, basically, and did not allow for a lot of last minute deciding. All male, I believe, all male, and not meaning all dudes, but all. You mail it in with the federal mail voting.
Right.
So incredible. I mean, a few examples of this. Minnesota was, I believe, 538 had that at a 19% chance of Biden winning it, and he won. This is a state, obviously, that Klobuchar was a co-favorite with Bernie going into this week. She drops out.
Shocking to me.
That one was shocking to me, not just because it's a win outside of where Biden has performed, right? It's a northern state. It's not a state with a large minority population. It was not built for Biden. Then you have Klobuchar, who's there and very popular, who drops out the day before the vote, or 2 days before the vote, whatever it was. And a lot of that, with early voting, people had already voted for Klobuchar, right? She was one of the favorites. So she drops out. Everyone there goes all to Biden, which usually doesn't happen. And he wins that, I think, by 9 points, which is insanity.
How? Does it bother you at all that, I mean, I do not want to, I've just never seen anything like this. And I know with social media how they can affect, and swing the vote. If it's close, they can swing it by up to 5 points.
Oh, you're talking about like Google
and Facebook, and how they can geo-target without fingerprints. They can
you're not even a Bernie bro, and you're going down the conspiracy road here?
Well, only because we're doing the special tonight, and I'm looking at all of the data up close, and so I'm kind of living in that world.
Because, I mean, I think, obviously, and I'm joking about the conspiracy, that it is something very real, and the research shows that it's real. Though, would you believe that Google would want to throw the election to Joe Biden over Bernie Sanders? Maybe?
I do. Because I don't think anyone in real business wants Bernie Sanders, because they know what it means. Do you think that CNN is for Bernie Sanders? Do you think NBC, Comcast NBC is for Bernie Sanders? They know what he'll do.
You saw stocks go up after.
Right.
They looked like Sanders are having a bad night.
What is it? It was like 480 points or 500 points. The stock market went up in the overnight after closing. Before the morning bell, we're up about 500 points, and that is because Bernie Sanders is not the guy. We told you the stock market does not like Bernie Sanders. No. The economy will not like Bernie Sanders. So, yeah, I do think that Joe Biden would just be for regulation of these companies, which these companies want.
Sometimes they do, especially the big ones.
Yeah.
I would say I don't necessarily think that that's the reason. I think there's a plausible explanation for this, which was a great confluence of events over about a 1 week period without really people having time to check their work. I mean, if you think about this, you had a second place Nevada finish, a decent debate for Biden, his best debate out of 10 that they've had, then a big win in South Carolina, followed by massive endorsements and coalescing around Biden inside the party, followed by a primary 3 days later with no time for Joe Biden to come out and screw anything up and no time to take any polling for anyone to know what's going on. It hits a perfect confluence of events for a massive momentum shift.
It absolutely could have.
Yep.
There also could have been influence from social media only because of the massive switch. Remember, last Friday we were talking about it's over. It's over for him. If he doesn't really take South Carolina, it's over.
Right. But he did. I mean,
I know
he won by 30 points. There.
I know.
So everything was pointing in the direction of a good night. We talked about this yesterday.
That's the only thing.
It is what we expected.
I think it's the only thing that changed. Look, do you think that Joe Biden looks healthy?
No.
Okay.
All he has is momentum, which would, if I was a Democrat, terrify me. He's got nothing. He doesn't even have fundraising going on for him. He's got nothing else. He has no organization, no fundraising, no ability to speak through full sentences. God only knows if he can walk on stage in any given appearance. I mean, I would be terrified if this came out. And if you're Donald Trump, you have to be thrilled. Could this have gone any better for Donald Trump? Seriously, think of all the candidates that are on the board up here. We have a giant board of all the candidates. Right now, there's only 5 left that are still in the race. What? 25, almost 30 candidates that were either about to run and didn't or dropped out. You look through that list, there are a ton of candidates in there that on paper, at least, could scare you, right? People who are fresh faces, who are good talkers, who have interesting backgrounds and resumes.
Bloomberg, with all of the money and the experience, is no matter how unlikable that guy is, even Bloomberg would have been a threat. What they're doing is they're giving us the two worst candidates. Okay, you've got an old communist who has to continually say, Fidel Castro, he was a great guy. I loved him. He made great ham sandwiches. Even though I'm a Jew and I don't have ham sandwiches, I love the ham sandwiches he was making. They're Cuban sandwiches. I love Cuban sandwiches. I love Fidel. What are you doing? Are you kidding me? That's the worst candidate. Except for the guy who is like, I'd like you to meet my wife. Oh, that's my sister. Oh, she looks hot. Shoes. Is it time for my pills yet? That guy. That's the guy they all coalesced around. Think of how pathetic that is. Right. It's not like, and it's only due to his win. It shows
one win
how much they don't want Bernie Sanders,
which is, I will say, remarkable. I think it's less. People are like, well, they just don't want a socialist. I don't think that has anything to do with it, frankly, as far as the Democrats go. I think, number one, it has to do with they're worried about him beating Donald Trump because they're worried the American people don't want a socialist that's out of the closet. But number two, another big function here is Bernie is not a party guy, and they want a party guy. They want a guy who's going to be loyal to the party, who's going to remain a Democrat, there's a good chance that if Bernie Sanders won the presidency, he might turn into an independent while he was president.
Oh, I think he would.
Right?
They
don't want that. They don't want that. They don't like Bernie. He's never been he's never been nice. He's never played nice with them. And they don't like him for that reason. The socialism is like that's on the positive side of the ledger for Democrats in the party. But when it comes down to Democrats being Democrats, that's important to them. And winning is important. They want to beat Trump, and they don't think Sanders is the guy to do it.
Oh, and I think they truly believe, and they would lose the House. They'd not only lose the White House, the Senate, the down ticket would be just obliterated. Because if you're going to put a communist revolutionary in the White House, Americans generally try to balance the ticket. And so if they have a communist revolutionary, it would be like, I'm going to put a Republican in there because maybe they'll be able to stop him if he goes crazy. I think that
huge
would
risk.
Be huge for them. Huge risk for them and for the nation.
And I think they do see that at some level.
And I think they see, they may, you say they may like, a socialist. I don't think they like socialist revolutionaries.
Right.
And they also get a lot of money from corporations. Right. And all of the corporations have got to be saying to them now, are you out of your mind? Are you out of your mind? You're going with somebody who is saying he's going to end the free market system? Are you crazy?
They do get a lot of money from those people.
Right.
And they wouldn't want to deal with that.
Right.
But on the other hand, too, we're talking about speed, right? Revolutionary versus progressivism. As you've talked about many, many times, there's a difference in speed and approach.
Yeah.
And, yes, you're right. Like right now, I think they see the best way to get down that road is to take baby steps and sometimes big steps, but not revolutionary long jumps. That's what Bernie wants.
You're at the end of the progressive era. You are at the point to where it's all breaking down. Mm-hmm. You cannot have this system merged with a big progressive system that is not based in common sense at all. You can't. So it's just this 100%. Clash.
I agree.
Right. So now it's time to decide. You are going to take the last step. And the last step here is to change the Constitution and to change over to a socialist, communist kind of system. That last step Americans at this point won't take. Now, they might in 4 years or 8 years or 15 years, but they're not going to take them today. And so the question is, just like that book that I pointed out from France, The Coming Insurrection, that was the point of that book, written by French intellectuals and socialists and communists and anarchists for the people that were in colleges. And it said clearly, they have given us Every step of the way, they keep bringing us in and saying, oh, we're going to do it. But then they never pull the trigger on it. And they've said, we got to have a peaceful transition of power, and we're going to make that step. But they're never going to make it. So it's time we take it. That's what The Coming Insurrection was about in France, that book. And that's happening here with Bernie Sanders. It's time to take it. Let me take a quick break and then come back. Stu, talking to Steve Deace last night on the TV show, he was pretty scary, I thought, because he didn't give a solution. He's like, this is it. You're going to head to a brokered convention now. And I'd like to hear your analysis of that on the numbers. Sure. Are we more likely for a brokered convention or not? And if we are headed, how does that now work? How are they going to untangle themselves from the revolutionaries? Because there's not going to be a compromise on those sides. It's going to be one or the... Ronald Reagan was right. This is a time for choosing. He said that in 1964 for the Republicans. And it took 15 years for us to choose, but we finally got Ronald Reagan in office. So it's a time for choosing. This is the time for choosing. And the stakes are really high for the Democrats. What do they do from here? In 1 minute. So you may like to mow your lawn, but how long does it take you? I mean, do you have all Saturday to mow your lawn, or would you like to just bang this thing out? If you're looking for a lawnmower and you've got, half an acre or so, and you want to bang it out quickly and easily, you owe it to yourself to test drive a Hustler Turf. Hustler Turf, they engineer these lawnmowers. I hate to even call them lawnmower because it's not what you think of when you think of a lawnmower. These have been researched and tested and designed and redesigned for the last 50 years. And it is a zero-turn lawnmower. So you know how you get to the end and then you kind of have to, go back and forth. And this is a zero turn. So it stops at the corner and turns around and you don't miss anything. It's really an unbelievable lawnmower. It's a Hustler. Please, you owe it to yourself if you like to mow your lawn, or better yet, if you hate to mow your lawn and you don't want to spend any time and you don't want to hassle. This is like driving around in a Ferrari. It is really, really great. It's Hustler Turf. I want you to test drive one of these. I want you to go down, if you're looking for a new lawnmower, Hustler Turf. Go to hustlerturf.com, find a place around you, read all about it online, click on the radio offer button at the top right-hand corner. If you enter my name, Beck, in the box, you're going to get an extended 1-year addition in their warranty for free. It's hustlerturf.com. Once you drive one, you'll thank me. 10-second station ID. Stock futures are up today. They were up last night once the news that Joe Biden was sweeping more than 580 points. That's pretty incredible. That should tell any voter out there that likes to work, likes the economy, likes something called money. The who you vote for is going to change your future. And if you're voting for Bernie Sanders, that is not a vote for jobs. It's just not. Okay, so how does this work from here? We're going to know about the California delegates probably in the next couple of days, right? Yeah,
a lot of mail-in vote there as well. So you're going to have votes trickle in. That vote is going to favor Bernie Sanders in a pretty significant way, and he'll close the gap on delegates from where we are now. We were projecting the post Super Tuesday delegate count. Remember, you need to get to about, 1,991 to win the nomination without a contested convention. Right now, if you go look back a week, the analysis for most people was Bernie Sanders is going to be ahead by a decent margin, likely, with Bloomberg and Biden behind there somewhere, and Warren in fourth. As we went through the day, as we approached when we updated those estimates, it was more like they're going to come out pretty close to tied. It looks like Biden might have a chance of actually tying him. As soon as Virginia came in right at 7 o'clock and they called it immediately, I mean, we looked
at each other and went, going to be a good night for Joe Biden.
This is going to be big because that's not supposed to happen.
No.
That should have been, I mean, Biden may have won that state. That wouldn't have been a surprise, but the fact that he won it so easily and they called it immediately.
I mean, they called it at the top of the hour. They closed the polls and they called it.
Virginia was supposed to be a state that would go on for a couple of hours and maybe they call it for Biden, but maybe he wins by 5 points. He wound up with 53.3% of the vote, more than half of the vote in a 4-candidate race. He got a higher percentage of the vote in Virginia than Sanders got in Vermont.
Wow.
Think about that. That is it was legitimately unthinkable going into yesterday.
But if you look at Virginia, that happens, I think, for a reason. One, Virginia is
for
the
lovers?
suburb of Washington, D.C. A lot of that is the suburb of Washington, D.C. So that is one of two things. Either the people who are in the government and they like big government, well, that would mean Bernie Sanders. Well, not necessarily, because a lot of those people are also there, very, very wealthy, because they're consultants, they're working in companies that are aligned with Washington, et cetera, et cetera. You've got a lot of people who are the lobbyists and the corporations that are there that make America work. They don't like Bernie Sanders.
No.
A vote for Bernie Sanders is a vote for ending their influence and their jobs in many ways.
So Bernie wound up being around tied as we were kind of going into the day. That Virginia thing, we started looking at this in a different way. As the results came in, Bernie started falling behind in the delegate count. We had Bernie down about 50 delegates at the end of the night, which was pretty significant. And now, because of the very late night after we ended our coverage announcement that Bernie Sanders also won Texas, or excuse me, Joe Biden also won Texas, which was not supposed to happen.
No.
Again, big Latino population. Sanders had been doing well with that group. Biden wins there too. Now, I can see at least the New York Times estimate now has Bernie down by almost 100 delegates after this all is settled.
It's supposed to be very close, if not Bernie ahead. That's what we thought going in, 100 delegates going in. So does that give him enough of a spread if this continues to win outright the nomination? More in a minute.
Glenn Beck.
Imagine having a person following you in the store with every circular containing every single coupon. Every time you went into the store, all you had to do, that person would be there and they would just whip out a handful of coupons and, hand it to the cashier and you wouldn't have to worry about it. In the online shopping world, that's called Honey. Honey is the free online shopping tool that automatically finds the best promo codes and applies them to your cart when you're shopping online.
This is great.
All you have to do is download Honey to your computer, then shop your favorite websites like normal. You go to checkout, click the Apply Coupons button. When it pops up, few seconds, they find all of the best deals, they apply it, and you'll see your price go down. Mm-hmm. It's really amazing.
Saves money basically automatically.
Yeah.
If you're buying something, why not do it? It's just going to run through all the stuff for you.
And they're not keeping your information. They're not selling your information or collecting information on you. Everybody wins in this. Everybody is making money, including you. It doesn't cost you anything. Get Honey for free at joinhoney.com/Beck. That's joinhoney.com/Beck. Do it now.
And if you go to blazetv.com/Glenn, you could save $20 for the rest of the week. GB20 is the code. GB20 for $20 off Blaze TV.
All right. Here's the problem. Pat just came in, and he's got a cough and the sniffles, and he said, "I think I have the coronavirus." And I said, "Right, I think I have it too." And that's when Stu said, I think I've had it for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, a few weeks.
So we probably got it from you.
We probably got it from you.
Now, right? it's either allergies or coronavirus.
Did you eat any Chinese food?
Yeah, last night we had it here.
By the way, I just say, let me just see if I can pick this up with a pencil because I don't want to touch it. Look what I found in our studio by Stu's desk. Okay?
Bottle
it's
of Corona.
A Corona Light. So maybe that's why we don't have fevers. Maybe we just have coronavirus light.
Yes.
So, somebody's drinking Corona.
Excuse me. Just, a little bit of a cough there.
Yeah.
Scary.
It is funny because at what point do you go and say, hey, I might have the coronavirus? Because they keep saying that a lot of people have it and A, get no symptoms at all, or B, get very light symptoms that they would even go to work with. The Washington Post got an op-ed from a guy who was on the Princess ship there in Japan, came back, has been quarantined for weeks. First of all, I thought it was funny that he pointed out, I was on the ship with my wife for like a month, and now we've been in quarantine separately. And I think it's the alone time has been good for us. Like, wait a minute,
Wow.
But he said, look, honestly, I've had it for a month, and it hasn't been that big of a deal.
Huh.
He said, if I were home, I probably would have just gone to work through it.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of people have it in that way.
Well, that's what I've been doing all week.
Yeah,
I've been
coming to work too. And
you too.
Have
Me
I
too.
been? I mean, are you a little congested?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. And
yes.
But I
I'm
also get
sneezing,
allergies
I'm
around this time of year.
coughing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But allergies come this time of year for everybody. At least if you deal with them in Texas, I seem to get them around this time all the time. So, and I've been assuming I don't have coronavirus, but maybe I do.
I
Maybe you
used
do.
to have really bad allergies, and I have to tell you, I took the allergy shots about 2 or 3 years ago.
I got to do this.
You have to do it, Stu.
I got to do it.
My whole life, you remember, Pat?
Really bad allergies.
Really bad allergies. I have allergies so bad they can't treat me for dogs and horses, because every time they would give me the allergy shot, it would put me in the hospital. I'd have to go to the emergency room. And he's like, okay, you just don't ever get around a horse. And I'm like, I love horses. He's like, don't ever get around horses anymore. You can't stop that. But for a year, I took these allergy shots. It's a miracle. I don't know why I wasted
really
my whole life suffering with allergies.
Have they had it your whole life, or how long have they been able to do this?
Oh, yeah, they had shots. I know I was tested for allergies when I was a kid, and they were really bad. And then, my mom was like, maybe we should get the shots. No, not the shots. I wish. I wasted so much of my life in misery.
That's what happens when you're a sissy.
Yeah, right.
Shut
That's
up,
what we've been
Pat.
talking about. Glenn's
Right?
a sissy. Remember,
That's
we
what
had that whole
happens. No,
conversation.
that's not- I remember that.
When did
I
your book
remember
about that come out? Because I know you were writing
in
it.
a couple of weeks.
All right. So we were talking about coronavirus. There is a Dr. James Phillips, assistant professor of emergency medicine at George Washington University. He is the chief of the section of disaster and operational medicine. And he's just written an article that I think is really, really good that I want to read to you. He's talking about, I'm a doctor. This is what I do. I'm in the emergency rooms. I'm looking at these kinds of diseases, et cetera, et cetera. And he said, I'm going to get the coronavirus. And it's not just me. It's going to be a lot of health workers. He said, so we have to have some discussions about what to do, what not to do, and what are we going to do? He said, for instance, he said, I'm young, I'm healthy. He said, but I know a lot of doctors that do what I do and are in the ER. And he said, they're older and they would be a prime target for death on this. He said, should we consider saying these doctors shouldn't treat people who have the coronavirus and keep them aside? He said, because coronavirus is going to start to really take over the medical profession, and everybody's going to be worried about the coronavirus. Meanwhile, heart attacks and strokes and everything else that has nothing to do with coronavirus, we're going to need doctors. And he said, so the first thing we should do as a medical community is decide how are we going to use our resources. But listen to this. He said, as this spreads, a certain number of medical staff will need to miss work because they or their families are ill. What we don't know yet is for how long. It's imperative that we fund research to determine how long the infected are contagious and when people can safely return to work so we can keep our healthcare systems working and our economy from suffering. Telemedicine can play a major role in this outbreak by allowing providers to avoid proximity risk of infection while electronically visiting a large number of patients. In addition to concerns about infection among the workforce, space emergency departments will also be an issue. Most urban emergency departments are already operating at a maximum capacity every day. As a disaster medicine specialist, my biggest concern is that the ERs and the clinics are going to become overwhelmed by the worried well and the minimally ill. That would be us. Oh my gosh, I just sniffed. It's Captain Trips. Unnecessary visits by those with a mild virus illness risk not only exposure to other emergency room patients, but also increases the risk of illness to the medical staff. So in other words, you're going, you don't really have something, or it's just very mild. Are you infecting others that are there, or are others infecting you? And you're going to go in and say, yeah, you don't have anything. But did you just contract it because you were sitting next to somebody who did? In addition, if our ambulances are busy transporting patients who are worried or mildly ill, they'll have slower response time, blah, blah, blah. The public should be expected to be asked in the coming weeks to avoid the healthcare system visits unless they have significant symptoms or risk factors. I suggest that healthcare facilities explore the creation of separate care areas for patients presenting with respiratory symptoms and possible COVID-19 in an effort to keep all of those possibly contagious away from those who are being seen for other conditions. We have to ensure the public knows that we are open and preventing spread from one patient to another. They may have to add temporary structures such as outdoor tents to evaluate those concerned and keep them out of the hospital. While healthcare workers and policymakers are currently laser focused on COVID-19, the epidemic requires a coordinated response that extends beyond the healthcare system. Employers and large and small employers must enact public health measures, part of which would include requirements that sick employees stay home and guarantees that they will not be penalized for doing so. This is something that this broadcast is already on. We were working with our engineers just yesterday to be able to have me be the only one that switches flips all of the switches to be able to connect with the satellites.
We still get paid, right?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Nobody, as long as I'm on the air. The minute I'm off the air, nope. This has never been done before. The network doesn't even know how to do it, but we and the network are taking this so seriously that we have to make sure that the voice is on, and we're trying to use technology and solve problems that have never been thought of before. A national radio program connecting to almost 500 stations nationwide, plus the internet, plus video, with only one person at the control. That's how we're affecting this, because there's no reason if people start to get sick, we've got 100 and some people here in this building. Do we need to have all of the writers and researchers here, or can they do their work from home? I think this could fundamentally transform America if it lasts a long time. I think we could see our workplaces and the way we do things change. He talks here about, should you wear surgical masks, yada, yada. He says, no. I get asked several times a day, should I be worried? The answer is yes, but to an appropriate degree. This is going to get worse before it gets better. We don't know if it will go away when it gets warm. Keep an eye on the transmission in the tropics. Nor do we know for sure if reinfection is possible. One thing is certain. Panic helps no one. I thought that was an interesting look on the things that we should be paying attention to. And when do you go get checked? I don't know. You got to go to a hospital.
And why do you say no on the surgical mask?
Because the surgical mask is keeping them that we're out of the N95s. What is it?
It's only the M95 that is effective, right?
N95 or N100. Yeah,
it's not a big enough closure between the seams or whatever it is.
Correct. So the N95, and even then, they recommend that you wear another mask underneath, a regular surgical mask. Surgical mask only keeps you from spreading whatever you have. So when you're in surgery, everything else is sterile.
It doesn't keep you from getting?
No, everything is sterile. You're in a surgery room, everything is sterile. So the regular just little mask that you put over your ears, that stops when you cough any of your germs going out. The N95 stops anything from coming in. But like, for instance, you couldn't wear one, Pat. I couldn't wear one right now. We'd both have to shave.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? You can't have a beard. It will not seal on your face, and it really has to be fitted. You have to know how to fit it. to your face. And we're out of those. 3M right now, I think it's in Ohio, is 24-hour-a-day shifts just making the N95 masks. And they are running out of them all over the world. The doctors need them first.
This is going to require cultural changes too, like shaking hands. That should stop for a while.
It should.
It should stop. We shouldn't be shaking hands with each other.
I mean,
or definitely kissing each other on the cheek or whatever. Doing that Frenchy French thing where you kiss both sides of the cheek. that's got to stop.
I will say, you can't pass coronavirus to someone if you never see them again. So this is a good way. If you don't like someone, this is the time to tell them.
Don't visit them. Don't ever see them.
I'm very concerned about coronavirus.
Yeah.
I'd never want to see you again.
Yeah.
Breaking might news. Be a little strong, but you just say, look, I'm really paranoid.
If you just go into permanent isolation, you're going to be okay.
Yeah. Or just isolation from you. From you.
You know who had it right? Howard Hughes. That's who had it right. That's the man. Yep. He never was going to catch coronavirus.
Nope,
he's probably
fine.
Still alive watching movies somewhere.
Probably is. All right. Somewhere in America, within the sound of my voice, there is a man exiting the firehouse station after an all-night shift. He's in his civvies now. It's not hard to detect the invisible weight of responsibility that rests on his broad shoulders. Another night, another few lives saved, perhaps. But that's what they pay him the medium bucks to do. In the cold morning as the sun rises to light his path home, he steps a foot into the running board of his truck. And that foot is clad in Tecovas boot. And it says everything about the integrity of the cowboy that lives inside of him. The remaining traces of soot on his cheek if he fought a fire, or just the idea of that soot on his cheek from the fires gone past. He's a man who fights fires. He doesn't mess around. When you buy a pair of Tecovas boots, you're buying a statement of integrity. It really says who you are. Integrity, frontiersmanship. You're not the guy that runs in the other direction. Handmade with the finest leathers, Tecovas boots take 200 steps to complete. They're twice the value of a similarly priced boot, half the price of a boot of similar quality. When you wear Tecovas, you're going to feel that frontiersman, that integrity that is alive in you. Tecovas, Western goods for new frontiers. Find your pair of Tecovas right now at tecovas.com/Beck. That's TECOVAS.com/Beck. Tecovas.com/Beck.
This is the Glenn Beck Program.
Welcome to the program. So, Michael Bloomberg spent $500 million, and he won American Samoa. Bigly.
Over Tulsi Gabbard, who was born there, apparently.
Who knew?
Although Tulsi will get on the board here with at least one delegate, and this is the time she makes her move. Watch out for it. This is, if I were Joe Biden, I'd be terrified.
Right.
She's just getting her momentum started.
Can you imagine what it felt like to be Michael Bloomberg and go to bed realizing that you just spent $500 million and you got nothing?
I know, nothing except your $63.5 billion. That's all you have left. You believe this idiot? I mean, he's got to crawl back to his penthouse. And, after they drive him back in the limousine. But, it's going to be that's the thing with him. Unlike Steyer, who blew about 15% of his net worth and got 0 delegates.
Yeah, Bloomberg got something out of this. Bloomberg got position, he name recognition in the rest of the country. I mean, he did get something out of it. Steyer got nothing.
Yeah, Steyer really just got mocked. I mean, Bloomberg...
Steyer is like, who?
He's not going to win, but he's going to come in with he's going to get probably 100 delegates out of this, which is not nothing. He'll have some power at a contested convention if it occurs. The biggest development today to watch, if you feel like refreshing results like a loser, like I will be, is both in Texas and in California. Texas, Bloomberg is at 14.7%.
Oh, that changes everything. Another 0.3.
Yep. And California, he's at 14.4. Both of those will be dramatic swings in the delegate count for Biden and Sanders if he gets above 15%. It's the way these dumb rules work for the Democrats. But California is a much bigger win for Sanders if Bloomberg stays below 15. Again, he's 0.6 away with 20% of the vote left to come in.
That could change.
It could change. It could go either way. He's been north of that for a long time. That would probably change your delegate math. If he stays below 15%, it'll get a little bit closer. So that is a big one. Again, he spent a lot of money. There's rumor already that he's thinking about dropping out. There's rumor that he may start just running ads that are anti-Sanders.
There's rumor that he might kill everyone who told him to spend all this money.
It does seem like a giant waste. But on the other hand, what else is he going to do? He's got $64 billion. He throws away $500 million. What does it even matter? Does he even notice it? His stocks go up 4% tomorrow. He's back to even. Like, this means so little to him, which is why he was able to do it like this. But this has disproven a decades-old liberal narrative. You cannot buy these elections. Nope. You can't do it. No one could be better than Michael Bloomberg to do it.
And Steyer. Steyer and Bloomberg.
They both tried.
Couldn't do it.
Steyer tried to do it in just 2 states and couldn't do it. He couldn't even get a delegate in either state.
I tell you, on Monday's New York Times Daily, they were talking about how they needed Bloomberg to stay in because of all of his money. All right, new year deserves a new pair of Tecovas boots. Start strong with that feeling of confidence and comfort that only comes with a real high-quality pair of Western boots. Even if you've never worn cowboy boots before, Tecovas has the perfect pair for you. Tecovas boots, they're made to honor the cowboy in all of us. And I don't care where you live, there is a part of you that's cowboy. Honorable in your daily dealings, authentic in the way we live, committed to the ideals that built the greatness that is America. And every pair is handmade with high-quality, full-grain leathers by world-class bootmakers with no shortcuts or compromises ever. The styles are classic and handsome up any room they're in, and when you wear your Tecovas, you shouldn't kick down any doors, but it's good to know that you probably could. Tecovas, they haven't forgotten about middle America. Instead, they cut out the middleman, so you pay a fair price. Plus, free shipping and exchanges makes it simple. So find your pair at tecovas.com/Beck. That's TECOVAS.com/Beck. Tecovas, Western goods for new frontiers. Hello, America, and welcome to the Glenn Beck program. This may be my last program because I am sitting on just warehouse after warehouse of toilet paper, and I'm marking that stuff up and selling it on Amazon. So you're looking at a next Bloomberg-style empire, all built on the butts of other people because of coronavirus. We're going to tell you what happened last night. You probably already know, but we're going to give you some perspective on that, what it means, who is a possible VP, what the left is saying, the Bernie bros, and the radicals, the revolutionaries. What are they saying? What's coming? That and Steve Deace all around the corner. We begin in 1 minute.
This is the Glenn Beck program.
Have you ever had just really great customer service? To the point to where you don't just notice it. You're kind of captivated by it. It's the kind of thing that stands out in our day-to-day lives. I just got a letter from somebody about our customer service. I got to read that to you later. Somebody that was dealing with a blaze, and they were like, I have no idea what I was doing, and the customer service was so great and so patient. That kind of customer service is rare. And it is hard to build a customer service center that can do that. But that's what we really built realestateagentsitrust.com on, customer service. These have to be the most qualified in your area. They have to have a great track record of selling and buying houses for people. They also have to have unbelievable customer service. That's when you have somebody who responds to you and doesn't just leave you on the dark, and you're not like, hey, have we heard anything about our house from the real estate agent? There's nothing more frustrating. This is the biggest investment of your life. If you're buying or selling a house, you need the right person. Let us help you find it. It's a free service to you. It's realestateagentsitrust.com. Call them up. If you're buying or selling, they'll help you do it, and they'll do it right and treat you the way you deserve to be treated. realestateagentsitrust.com. That's realestateagentsitrust.com. So I think it is really interesting that the media has learned nothing. They have gone around and they have touted socialists, anarchists, revolutionaries, and made them feel welcome, never checked them out, never said a bad word about them as they're setting cities on fire. They're fine. It's the people like Ben Shapiro that are showing up that are causing them to set that city on fire. They've been playing that for years, and they grew this movement. They made it acceptable for how many millions of Americans? Then, when Bernie Sanders becomes real, oh my gosh, what do we do? Well, they've done an awful lot. And remember, they're the ones with credibility. Remember, the mainstream media is the one that says you, because you're a Trump voter, or you don't vote the way they want you to vote, or you don't think the way they want you to think, you're an outsider. You're somebody who is on the margins and the very lunatic fringe of America. They're the ones that know. Well, let me just remind you that the New York Times had two endorsements. One was Elizabeth Warren. How'd she do last night? How's she doing? Really? I mean,
horrifically awful.
Horrific. And the other one, Amy Klobuchar, was the other one they endorsed. And how's she doing?
The only way she's impacted the race was by leaving it.
Correct. So nobody was listening to the New York Times. New York Times, their editorial and their endorsement meant nothing. Nothing. And they won't recognize that. It meant nothing. In fact, it means more than nothing. Nothing means everybody read it and went, eh. Studies show that after they made their endorsement, those people who read the New York Times every day, they switched away from these candidates by about 5%. So it was less than nothing. It actually hurt those candidates. How about the media and the sensation that was Beto? I mean, he was the next Jack Kennedy. There was nothing to Beto. Nothing. It was all media hype. All of it. And he collapsed in a spectacular fashion. And who created him? The media. Trying to make him into the next big thing. Then there was Pete Buttigieg. He's the next best thing. Look at him. He is going to be the up-and-comer. All of the people that they have endorsed are gone. So, who do you have? Well, you have Biden, who they've never really liked Biden. There's a great article in Reason magazine, and they talk about how they did anything they could to steer people away from Joe Biden, because Joe Biden is just too average every day. We need the new one. We need somebody like Elizabeth Warren who's cutting edge. Everyone they endorsed, everyone they pushed, failed. And because they didn't like them, they kind of mock them. The other two do well. It's kind of like Donald Trump. Did they not learn anything? They have no influence anymore. This is really important for America to understand, because they're going to continue to live in denial. But it's going to frustrate them more and more, because they used to, when they said something, they had impact. How was the impact on the impeachment trial? Did America fall into line with that? That was the impact.
I can hit you with this here real quick. Michael Bloomberg is suspending his presidential campaign. He will be dropping out. And that obviously, the thought there would be that helps Biden going forward. Mm-hmm. So,
what was he promised?
I don't know. What can you promise a guy who's got $63.5 billion?
Treasury Secretary?
Yeah, something like that. Very, very possible he has a role. I would not be surprised at all.
Mm-hmm. Gun czar?
Oh, God. No, he already promised that to Beto.
Oh, that's right.
He already brought us up to Beto the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is a team effort for the Democrats. I mean, because Joe can't do it on his own anymore. I mean, maybe 2008 Joe, maybe 2004 Joe, maybe 1946 Joe.
This is going to be George W. Bush 2000. Remember, George W. Bush wasn't getting the job done. And so all of the big players, that really sealed the deal. He had Colin Powell. He had Dick Cheney. He had all of the big names, Condoleezza Rice. They all came and rallied around him. So everybody's like, okay, yeah, he
put a big team around him.
Yeah, he's maybe makes me a little nervous, and he doesn't really, is he just the son that doesn't have his own experience? He was running a baseball team. He put a big team around him.
This is back in the day when only running one of the largest economies in the world as a state was not enough experience to be president.
Right.
You were like, I don't know. He's only been running Texas for a couple terms.
Right.
What's going on?
Right.
Now we're like, I think he'd fix that sidewalk in Indiana. He probably could be president, right?
Right.
And
it was great.
That guy was on a talk show.
He's gay.
Yeah, he's gay.
He's gay.
He's gay. He's great. And we'll throw him in there. And who else? Who else can we pull here? Tom Steyer, what did he do? He had a hedge fund, I think, at some point a long time. I don't know. Throw him in there.
Here's the thing, though, with Joe Biden. Joe Biden, unlike what happened in 2000 with George Bush, where they brought a lot of people in, and that kind of sealed the deal for a lot of people. It gave them confidence. This literally is weekend with Joe, not Bernie. I hate to use Bernie because
Bernie's Bernie.
Bernie's Bernie. But Joe is like, he just needs a bunch of crew around him that are just going to lift him up under the arms and just carry him around. I mean, he could be dead and they'll just build a machine to go around him. So he's just a figurehead. I mean, and
it's not just but people on the right noticing how poorly he's doing physically and mentally. I mean, it's noticeable to everyone. You heard what's his face?
Sad.
Cenk, the guy from the Young Turks, talking about this in his, when he blew a gasket last night, complaining about the loss.
In case you don't know who Cenk is, good for you. Here he is with the Young Turks last night. I mean, this is the guy who is really kind of helped put the coalition together of Ilhan Omar and AOC and Bernie Sanders.
He started Justice Democrats, right?
Yeah, he's really, this is far dangerous left. Listen.
We thought it was almost over. Bernie was going to win. Now it's not over. Now we're in a tie. And now we got absolute dig-in warfare against the establishment. But we didn't start the war. They'll lie about it again. We didn't start the war. They started the war. They've been lying about Bernie Sanders. For God's sake, on Castro, I could give you 1,000 examples. Bernie Sanders said the same exact thing as Obama. Everyone on TV is lying like, oh my God.
No, this isn't a good thing.
I know. But maybe it's because I'm a big radio fan. He just turned into Bud Abbott.
Yeah.
You remember when he was like, he had the same movement of the fat one from Abbott and Costello and the exact same expression. He's a cartoon. This guy is a cartoon, but he's absolutely serious and has a lot of followers. They are declaring war here. Continue to pick it up.
What an outrageous thing Bernie Sanders said. Obama said the same thing. No, shut up. Don't cover it. Don't cover it. Don't cover it. Obama said the same thing. You want to go to war? We'll go to war. And that is what this is. We cannot let Biden win. Guys, not just on progressives versus establishment. This is so important. I need you to understand this. Biden is not going to beat Trump. Biden is either near senile or actually senile. Watch any of the tapes. And Biden lies nonstop. He's going to get caught. The media is covering for him, but they're not going to be able to cover when the Republicans come for him and when Trump comes for him.
Stop for a second. I love that part there where he's like, he lies. He's going to get caught. He's not mad because he's lying.
He's mad because he lies poorly. Yeah, he's going to get caught.
Yeah. He's going to get caught. Trump's going to come for him. They're going to catch him with the lies.
I'm telling you, I'm just expecting somebody to go, who's on first? That's exactly what I'm saying.
By the way, we have some very sad Cenk news. Mm-hmm. His frustration in this clip may have been for another reason. Because Cenk, as you noted, started Justice Democrats. He got Ilhan Omar and AOC and all the whole squad, right? I can't even remember I can't remember Ringo's name. Unfortunately, he was trying to parlay that into his own political career and was running for Congress in California. And you may not know that because
he didn't do well.
The sad result. He was in the 25th House District. He's going for the Katie Hill seat. Remember Katie Hill, the one that was...
wow. They will vote for Katie Hill, but not for him.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
now remember, district that would put her in.
Yes.
And says, no, he's crazy.
So the top two go to a runoff in California. So first was Christy Smith, 34.3% a Democrat. Second, Mike Garcia, Republican at 27%. Third, Steve Knight, another Republican, at 18.1%. And way down in fourth place, our friend Cenk, who got 5,308 votes for 5.8% of the vote. So he did finish ahead of Getro Elise. And I know a lot of people are following that campaign.
Getro was really dynamic.
I mean, that's a solid name. Getro? I mean, I might be rethinking my kids' names after this.
I'm just saying.
Getro Bergier. Beautiful.
Oh, man.
So anyway, Cenk, he did not win.
So Elon, though, she was having a good night. Ilhan Omar, she really, really helped Bernie Sanders in her own home state of Minnesota.
Ilhan Omar. Ilhan Omar. Ilhan Omar.
So she said last night, imagine if the progressives consolidated last night like the moderates consolidated. Who would have won? That's what we should be analyzing. I feel confident a united progressive movement would have allowed for us to build together and win Minnesota and other states that we narrowly lost. Oh, my goodness. So who could they have united? I mean, you couldn't have united with Bloomberg. You couldn't have united with Biden. You couldn't have united with Pete Buttigieg. You couldn't have united with Elizabeth Warren, because whatever you say about Elizabeth Warren, she's a progressive. She's not a revolutionary. She's a progressive, a deep progressive that likes a lot of Marx's ideas, but she's not a revolutionary. Sank? Who are you joining with on your revolution, Elon? On your I hate America. America sucks beyond all imagination. It should be destroyed, and we should have a communist system instead of a capitalist system. Who do you have that's a big name that's like, yeah, I'm for that?
You have Ilhan Omar and AOC, and you have a few of those people, right?
And they were all there.
And Bernie Sanders.
And they were all on the bandwagon.
And Sanders, who was heavily favored in this race, got the other person who was favored to drop out of the race. And yet, what happened? With Ilhan Omar, they still lost in a depressing, terrible fashion. 9-point loss in a race they were favored in.
I have to tell you, I know I've been using this phrase lately, but it's the only phrase that seems to really work. And it couldn't have happened to a better group of people. Pound for pound, unless you're an international spy, driving is something that's probably one of the most dangerous things you do for any extended period of time during your day. Lots of rides, literally. Your ability to trust that your car is going to get you from place to place safely and efficiently. Somebody's not going to hit you or whatever. But when things with your engine, your car goes wrong, it's important that you have the service that you can trust, and it's important that you're not bled dry. CarShield has affordable protection plans that can save you thousands of dollars for covered repair and includes the computers, GPS, electronics, and a lot more. Rates as low as $99, and you can have anybody do it, your favorite mechanic or the dealership. I have a couple of trucks that are under CarShield. They have had a couple of problems. One broke down on the side of the road, had to get it. They took care of getting it there. They took care of everything that was wrong with it. I got there expecting to write a big check, and they said, nope, it's all covered. Oh, all right. I'm just going to walk away slowly, pretend I never showed up until they find something that I do owe money on, I think. It was the weirdest experience. That's a great experience with CarShield. CarShield.com or call 800-CAR-6000. 1-800-CAR-6000. Use the promo code Beck. CarShield.com. Save 10% now. CarShield.com, promo code Beck. 10 seconds, station ID. All right, so even the vegans went crazy last night. A vegan protester storming the stage of Joe Biden's victory speech on Super Tuesday was tackled by two unlikely linebackers, Jill Biden, his wife, and his senior advisor, Simone Sanders. Now, can we play this here? Watch and listen.
In the neighborhoods we come from, the three...
Look at Jill. Okay. So
this is really bad. I know it seems funny.
No, it's really bad.
Really bad. Something bad is going to happen if they do not have freaking security at these events. Doing anything.
He has. So let me explain what happened. So first of all, Joe Biden does not have Secret Service detail. He's a former vice president. They don't get it. So he doesn't have Secret Service. And they had one guy come up on the stage and try to get this protester. She was what was it? Let Dairy Die?
Yeah.
And, I actually am kind of sympathetic. I mean, as a guy who is...
Surprising.
No, I know. I mean, meat is delicious, and I raise cattle to eat.
Right.
So I don't have any problem. But, I mean, they do make the point of, dairy, you take the moms away from the babies, and it's a sad thing when you actually see it. It's a really sad thing. They really do care about that.
I'm sure they do, yeah.
I don't know if all animals do, but cows do. Anyway, but this woman gets up, and you don't storm stages.
No.
And she storms the stage, and what's amazing is Jill puts her body between her and her husband. I mean, it was really kind of amazing to see. And then it was Simone is his sister, right? His sister goes and tackles the person. I mean, takes him down on the ground. Two women. Now, one guy is coming up and he's like, I'm a big, meaty guy. He's not the one that takes her down. It's Simone that takes this woman down.
Amazing.
And wrestles her to the floor. This is going to become this is 1968. I'm telling you, we are headed for the summer of 1968. And that's not good. And all of us, whether we like candidates, dislike candidates, we all need to watch ourselves, watch who's standing next to us. You see something, say something. Don't let this get out of hand, because these people on the left, they are serious. They are dead serious. And some of these Bernie bros, if they get on the stage, God only knows what will happen. Because look at the way they treat him while he's on stage. They just take the mic from him. What do you think they are thinking about? We've got to stop this Democratic Party hijacking of trying to destroy our candidate. They are serious.
You're listening to Glenn Beck.
American Financing, NMLS 182334, www.nmlsconsumeraccess.org.
So I have some serious financial news for you coming up in a second. The Fed cut the rate again yesterday. This is unbelievable. And if you had a loan, in the last 10 years, or if you have a 30-year fixed loan, you might be able to get a 15-year loan now and pay the same amount every month. The interest rate is getting that low now. It is worth 10 minutes. If you want to consolidate your loan, you are buying a new house, you want to refi. If you have a new loan just in the last couple of years, call them, please. Look at the loan, because the interest rate is becoming so low that you could save thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. You might be able to cut your 30-year loan into a 15-year loan or less and still have the same mortgage payment. Do the financially responsible thing. Go to AmericanFinancing.net or call them at 800-906-2440. 800-906-2440. AmericanFinancing.net.
Go to BlazeTV.com, promo code is GB20. You're going to get $20 off your subscription. Check it out.
Steve Deace hosts his own program, Steve Deace, from the Steve Deace Show. It is a show that follows this program on Blaze TV. You can also watch it anytime you want. But for those of you who missed our linear lineup, we got out of television, if you will, cable television, because it's over. And we decided to be an all-digital network. And when we dropped that, I don't know, about 3 months ago, a lot of people were very upset that they couldn't just have the 24-hour feed anymore. And so what we've decided to do on this new app, you now have on Roku and everything else, a 24-hour live feed, so you can watch the shows like you watch normal television anytime you want, but you still get them on demand. As soon as they're ready to go, we post them, and you can watch them on demand if you're a subscriber of Blaze TV. So you can watch Steve and his program. Very, very enlightening, really super, super smart, very, very ethical. And when it comes to politics, I don't know of a better person on our network than Steve Deace. I wanted to bring him on today and have a little more of the conversation we had last night as the polls were closing. Steve, I thought you were a little pessimistic, and I'm not sure I understand what you think is coming now with the Democratic Party, because you don't see a way out for a road to healing between, the super left and the regular liberal.
I don't think there is a road to healing, and I think the actions of this party in the last 4 to 5 days, Glenn, indicate that they realize that. And what they did here, going back to, it was a week ago, Jim Clyburn endorsed Joe Biden. And in the exit polling in South Carolina, almost half of the black voters Joe Biden received, so they were influenced by that endorsement. In the modern era, I have not seen a number like that. I've never seen anything like that.
So correct me if I'm wrong, Steve, because I said that earlier today. I've never seen, they used to call Bill Clinton the comeback kid. This was like weirdly fast, and for not a lot of good reasons, at least on the surface.
Glenn, he won 4, maybe 5 states last night, and most of them decisively. Joe Biden did. He never visited, he never campaigned, and he never advertised it. And that's unprecedented, because what you're seeing right now is something, and I'm going to use that word for a third time, unprecedented. We're seeing prior to 1972 in the old conventions and smoke-filled rooms, prior to the modern primary system, you're seeing this now, how this stuff used to be decided before I was born and when you were a little kid. This is how this stuff used to be decided. But now it's being determined out in the open on social media. The national media is coordinating this message with the Democratic Party, and you're watching the entire Democrat Party apparatus go beyond putting its thumb on the scale. They are literally rigging an outcome, and I'm using that word on purpose. I mean, if you were in competition in a league with somebody, and you found out that league was working directly with that person to have them beat you, what would you call it? Certainly not gamesmanship. You're beyond that. And the only question is why they're doing it, Glenn. Either it's because they're so desperate to beat Trump that they'll risk and mortgage their future. That's typically how the Republican Party rolls. They'll mortgage their future to win this election, because when you look at Bernie's numbers amongst Hispanics, particularly the younger you go, that's the party's future. They risk angering them, or they realize that Bernie has to go. We're going to do this. If we win, we're going to do the same policies no matter who wins. But we cannot let Bernie Sanders go out there and message us as socialists and Soviets, as opposed to the way we've been lying to the American people for the last 30 years. It's one of those two.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I truly believe, Steve, that the progressive era, as we know it, as it was set up in the 20s and 30s, is over. You know, at the beginning of the progressive era, there was this fight on, do we have a bloody revolution and just get it over with, or do we slowly make that move, that transition? Everybody decided America doesn't want a bloody revolution. Well, there comes a point to where the system is so hobbled by progressivism that it is not a true capitalist and constitutional republic, and it's not a Soviet state. It's nothing. And so you have to make... I think this is why so many people, including Donald Trump, want this debate with Bernie Sanders, and they want to just decide it, because that's really where we are. We're deciding between a constitutional republic, and a Soviet-style state. So which is it going to be? The Democrats are only dragging out the pain here. There's no future after Joe Biden. It is either a remake of the Democratic Party and a true one that repoints their compass back towards a republic, just a big state republic like Sweden actually is, or the communist revolutionary. And I don't see anybody pointing it towards a democratic republic. So what's the long-term game plan here?
I think the long-term game plan is that some of this is desperation. I think you've seen this with some of the corporate executives who are longtime Clintonistas that have been sounding off about Sanders and Elizabeth Warren before him. I think some of these chickens are coming home to roost for them. I think that they've used a lot of this class warfare, progressive, cultural Marxist language to, put down audiences like to your show and mine and others, to get power over them, to win elections. But in the end, they just want to shake the system down every bit as much as the corporatist Republicans they claim to oppose. And now they're realizing that, oh no, we can't put the genie back in the bottle. These folks, we told them, hey, just we'll be your Pied Pipers, but make sure we're the ones playing the tune. And now all of a sudden, a new generation has emerged. And they're like, thank you though, we'll take it from here. And I think a lot of that internal struggle is with those kinds of Democrats who don't have really any belief system other than, can I use government to get what I want in life? Period. End of sentence. We're just into gangster government. And I think now they're pitted against their own base. And they may get their way in this nomination fight, but in the long run, they're on the wrong side of history with where this party's trajectory is going.
So what happens next, Steve?
I think what happens next is that the Democratic, I go back to the first interview you and I did on this process when it started in Iowa, January of 2019. And I said to you that I thought a big dilemma the Democratic Party was going to have this year is, does it want to have the election of 2028 and 2032 or the election of 2020? And so that's really what's being debated right now, is the Biden forces that are propping him up, that he is a proxy vessel for, want to have the 2020 election. And Bernie Sanders' base wants to get on and culminate history, as you were just describing. That Bernie's going to win the argument. It's just a matter of his side will. It's just a matter of whether they win it in this primary or not. In fact, I would argue they've already won it by virtue of how far he's already gotten in their party. The real debate, I believe, is on the Republican side, because the Republican Party wants to offer up as an alternative to this some kind of quasi pro-corporatist, neo-capitalistic, kind of goulash